Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Roleplay Skyrim Special Edition. We're playing modded. We're doing a roleplay here with Artorius, the blacksmith, and he is a level 1, and it's about time for him to level up. We've done a little bit of crafting in the past few episodes, and I've been getting those messages up in the upper left-hand corner that he should reflect on what he's learned. So, want to make kind of a short episode this episode. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do the level up. And one of the things I want to mention though, if we were going to do any training, he's going to lose out on the ability to do that because I believe we've done enough crafting and we've leveled our smithing quite a bit with all that jewelry that we made. That he's probably going to end up being like level 2 or level 3. I don't know if he'll make it all the way to level 4. Uh, but I think we'll go ahead and do that, even though we'll miss out on our training opportunities, because the only person that we've met so far uh, that would be good for doing training is for smithing training, and we really don't need that smithing training right now, because as we do more crafting, we're going to get more skill level build up in that, and that's going to be this character's main attribute is his smithing ability. So that is the update for that. So before we do that, I have added a couple of mods that I want to talk about, and one of them is, forgive me if I can't remember the name right off, but it's woodcutters, axes are weapons, I believe, and basically it changes up the stats a little bit, just a little bit, and the iron woodcutter's axe, or the base woodcutter's axe now, has similar stats to an iron sword. So, and basically all it does is it adds crafting recipes for all the different metals, so you can make a steel woodcutter's axe. You can make a dwarven one, an elven one. You can make an ebony. I believe you can even make a daedric one or a dragonbone one. But anyway, so you have to have the smithing perks to do that. So right now we're only at iron level. However, it went from, I think, I want to say 8 damage up to 12. It's now upgradable with a grindstone, so we can actually sharpen this woodcutter's axe, and it's enchantable, which I'm not sure that's something that we're going to try to do. But I think for this guy, he's a woodsman, and he's an adventurer, an outdoorsman, avid outdoorsman, traveling merchant to sell his items that he's crafting. We've already got the cart. I don't know if we can see it. Can we see the cart over there? Just barely. In that little mining camp right over there in the left-hand mine. We've got our cart and horse set up. So what I want to do now is I want to basically just go ahead and do his level up, and then I want to see if we can put a perk into smithing and maybe upgrade this axe, or at least see what we want to do that. So the first things first, let's go ahead and do the level up. Now, Artorius here is not going to be a magic user at all. So basically I'm going to switch between health and stamina, and I'll probably just split everything. So I'll first go health and then stamina, health then stamina, and just go back and forth. So we're going to increase health, then stamina, then health, then stamina. So we did make it all the way to level 5. So we now have some decisions to make. We need to figure out what we're going to do for Mr. Artorius, so that we allocate these perks in accordance with our roleplay and with what we think would best suit this character. Speech is definitely something. For a traveling merchant and a salesperson, it's going to be pretty important for us to be able to negotiate prices when we set up our market stall. So speech, first level, or at least the first perk there, that might be something to look at. Um, the next thing I'm looking at here is light armor. We made a decision a couple of episodes ago that we're going to go with light armor, and I think we're going to stick with leather type armor for this guy. So we're going to see just how much we can level up light armor. So this is definitely a perk that we're going to take. And then obviously he's a blacksmith, so we're going to be focusing as many perks as possible, as early as possible into the smithing. I believe this first perk here is going to give you one of these, either steel or bone mold. We're definitely going to go with steel because I've added a couple of mods that add more weapons to the game. And I thought for a blacksmith's playthrough, having many options of things that he can make is probably going to be a little more fun. And some mods that I've used before, some that I haven't, but some of them, the sword models and things like that, are really cool. So I'm totally looking forward to getting into those. So first perk for Artorius the blacksmith, absolutely smithing mastery. All right. So now we can, in the next rank here, you can create novice steel and bold mold items at the forge anvil and improve them twice as much. And all items can be improved 10%. Um, I think we're going to go ahead and go with that. So our first two perks are going to be smithing mastery for sure. Now, when we go down this tree over here, we're going to go through Merrick Smithing, which gives us Elven and I'm not sure if that's pronounced Chitin or Chitin. I believe it's pronounced Chitin. We're going to probably go with Elven, and then when we come down this way, we'll have a choice between Scaled Plate Nordic and Orcish. I'm going to go with the Scaled Plate in Nordic, so along the lines of the like a smith. I think an Imperial Smith is probably not going to specialize in Orcish armor. Then once we get up to level 70, we have a choice between glass and crystalline, which is ebony and Stalrim. I want to get into ebony later on. It's going to be pretty tough to do in this playthrough because we have a mod that adjusts the availability of ebony in the world, and it's not very available. So we may definitely be looking to go mine some ebony. We'll have to find a place where we might be able to mine some ebony. I believe that may require us later on to let me not metagame too much, but I heard a rumor that there are some orcs that know a little something about where to find some ebony. So we'll probably go that way. Um, Around this area here, level 90, Daedric, Dragonbone. Mm, um, I'm not sure which one we'll do here. Dragon bones and dragon scales are going to be very difficult to come by because, first of all, we don't have dragons for quite some time, and second of all, even after we get to level 25, there will only be dragons at word walls, which we won't be able to use. We won't be able to use the word walls at all. So I don't know if this character is going to try to fight dragons at all. So we might go with Daedric. And then for, I'm using the Ordinator. I forgot to mention that. So this is Ordinator. This is perks redone. So the last one, once we get to level 100, we can pour our Dragonborn blood, which we're not Dragonborn, into the fire at one forge. But we are going to be a master blacksmith. So forging an item at this forge empowers you and increasing your attack damage and critical strike damage by 15% and reducing attack damage taken by 15% for 1,800 seconds. I don't know how many minutes that is, but I actually, since our character, I don't see him as being too much of like a charge into battle kind of fighter. So I don't know if this is going to be one of the more, how should I say this, useful of perks. So we might end up just skipping that one and maybe even making the skill tree legendary and starting over again, because by the time he levels up, we should have enough materials and things where we could probably go from 0 to 100 again pretty quickly. The advanced workshop is cool. You can upgrade a grindstone or a workbench to an advanced version. It costs 2,500 gold. And what it does is it allows on that one grindstone or that one workbench, it allows you to improve items one tier higher than it would normally be. And if you are very high in your perks and your skills, you can even go past legendary. Um, the option afterwards as well is, I think, so you got the grindstone or a workbench. You have to choose one or the other. If you disassemble that one, then you can switch to, like say I did a grindstone, then I could do a workbench. So afterwards, but every time you do that, every time you switch, it's gonna cost you 2,500 gold. So I don't think we would be switching. I'm gonna go with the grindstone, and we're gonna probably focus on upgrading weapons. You know, just personal choice. These other perks here are nice. Smithing specialization. Again, if I specialize in two-handed or one-handed, two-handed, or light armor, or heavy armor, or archery, you have to choose one of those, and then items of that chosen type will be able to be improved even more, even 20% even on top of everything else, better at a grindstone or a workbench. Down here, if you specialized in armor, you're going to get an armor bonus. If you specialized in weapons, you're going to get a weapons bonus for your chosen specialty. And then in the middle, we've got, I believe, Arcane Blacksmith, which is very, very similar. I think it's the same as the vanilla. Recycle materials actually gives you a coin toss of whether you'll get to keep your materials when you go to a grindstone. So you might not actually need to use up that extra ebony ingot if you're going to upgrade your ebony bow. The sandstone sheath, when you draw a weapon, it automatically is sharpened, granting 25% extra attack damage for 10 seconds. Now that's pretty cool. So if I just go into battle without having my weapon drawn, and then for 10 seconds after I draw my weapon, I'll get 25% extra attack damage. It does have a cooldown. It can only occur once every 30 seconds. So, and then the last perk that we're looking at on the smithing tree here is when activating the advanced grindstone or advanced workbench, you may choose to sacrifice a dragon soul. We can't use this perk, so we definitely won't be, because we're not going to be absorbing any dragon souls in this playthrough. Artorius here is an imperial blacksmith. He is not the dragonborn. Whatever dragonborn means. He doesn't even know what dragonborn means. So yeah, so we put 2 perks into the smithing mastery. We can now make steel and bold mold. I misread that, so it's both of those, and we get the 10% bonus whenever we upgrade those. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think it's pretty clear that we're going to go with the light armor perk. I definitely want to get that 20% bonus in light armor. Okay, and we'll take the second one later as well. And then over in the speech, I want to put 1 perk in speech, just so we can get a little bit better at selling. And if we need to, we can get a little bit more likelihood of our intimidation attempts. But mostly, I want to start going down the merchant's side of the tree. If I find another merchant in this perk that is an imperial, then I might want to trade with that person more often than others. I can buy items for 15% less. You don't sell for 15% more, but you can get 15% discount from that one. Business relation is picking basically one permanent bond with the merchant that you can buy items for 30% less from that specific merchant. So I think for Artorius, what makes the most sense for him is probably if we were to get this perk, what we would probably want to do is find an Imperial blacksmith. If we can find an Imperial blacksmith trader, then we'll be able to buy items for 15% less here. And then with that same person, if we create a permanent bond, we should get an additional 30% on top of the 15%, leading to a possible 45% discount for purchasing crafting materials. And I think that would definitely be something that we could look at down the road. If I'm a salesman, this would be awesome as well. This is at level 50. This is the can sell any type of item to any merchant. And I think that's a little further down the road. I think first we'll probably work on the finding another trader that's an Imperial and working on getting the business relation with him at level 40 of speech. That's looking forward way down the road. I hope we even get that many episodes in. Now, as far as the other stuff on here, like lockpicking, sneak, things like that, I do plan on leveling some of those things, but really, I'm hoping that they'll just level naturally. And because he's not that much of a fighter, I'm not going to focus as much on the combat skills probably until the next few levels. But I'm going to put a perk in one-handed so that he can do a little more damage with his axe, maybe even later on down the road, and then also with the archery. So I know this has been a little bit of a talky thing here. I want to mention also I want to do a lot of in-game building with this character. So we're going to be using another couple of mods. One of them is called Campfire Unleashed, and it adds a whole bunch of craftable items, purchasable items that can be used with the campfire placement system to place items and materials in the world. So we can actually buy something maybe similar to a house or something like that, and then place it in the world, and then we can decorate it ourselves using a combination of mods like Jackson's Positioner and some other cool mods like that. I also have another campfire add-on mod that's called Hearthcraft. And one of the cool things about Hearthcraft is it actually adds, I want to say, 4 or 5 different player homes that you can place anywhere in the world. And these are player homes that actually come with a load door. So once you place it down, you can use a renamer and rename the door to be your house or something like that. And then it's completely empty inside, and it gives you the opportunity to do decorating yourself. And I like the idea of doing that. It's a little more like Fallout's home building or base building system. But using mods, we're doing it all in Skyrim, of course. It's not Fallout. This is Skyrim. Anyway, one additional mod that I mentioned before was there is a blacksmith merchant mod. I can't remember the name of it right off, but I believe it's something along the lines of businesses of Skyrim. And I did some research into it. It looks really cool. Mr. Artorius here is going to have to level up quite a bit before we're ready to get into that, because it's going to take a lot of money for him to purchase that. It's not an early game thing, it's a later game thing. It's near Whiterun, it's a forge and home, player home, a mod that adds some quests for someone who wants to play as a blacksmith, and also affords you the opportunity to have customers that will come to you and purchase the things that you're crafting. So perfect, absolutely perfect for Mr. Artorius and what we're going to be doing with him. So, all right, guys, that's enough for this talkie and update episode. We didn't do anything except for level up. In the next episode, we're going to head into Markarth, and we're going to take a couple of crafting supplies with us, and we're going to upgrade our axe, and we're going to upgrade our bow. I've got some really cool stuff we're going to do with our longbow to make it more of a viable weapon for our young adventurer, merchant, blacksmith, Artorius, the Journeyman Blacksmith. All right, guys, that's enough for this episode. I am See You Later. This is Artorius, the blacksmith, and we'll see you later.